Kansas State University President Richard Linton spoke to the Manhattan City Commission on Tuesday. Speaking to the K-State 105 initiative, strategies to overcome enrollment declines and ongoing infrastructure upgrades were just some of the highlights of his presentation. He also took questions from commissioners, including one from Karen McCullough, who said she'd like to see better utilization of the City University Fund to improve things like transportation, particularly for international students.
I think it's a great idea. It's my understanding that I just recently learned about this fund, that much of it is used and taken over the next several years to be able to support projects around the Edge Collaborative District. But I think it's a great idea. I've heard same kinds of concerns and complaints around transportation.
Thank you.
Especially as our university expands to the Edge Collaborative District.
Commissioner Peter Opelt asked if the university might be a willing partner with the city on a potential indoor aquatic center, which the city has identified as a potential project in the next 5 years.
Yeah, I certainly think Kansas State would love to be sitting around the table to be able to see if there's a partnership and it makes sense for the community and makes sense for the students as well.
Olson Engineering also presented to the city last night some concepts for alleys designated for reconstruction and adding a consolidated trash service. Mayor Wynn Butler
said, I like the concept, of the trash compactors. It'll save some wear and tear on the alleys. And you mentioned the only drawback, that's, how does the business get the trash to the compactor? It's nice the compactor doesn't leak, but it doesn't do us a lot of good if the trash bags leak on the way there. So we still got to work that out.
Officials are wanting to improve Aggieville and make it more pedestrian-friendly. Commissioner Karen McCullough says she wants those alleys prioritized.
I think the alleys are vitally important, and I think the alleys should be done first. They're just really unpleasant now, and I know a lot of people cut through them and take shortcuts here and there, and I think it'd be great if we could have more lighting there. We could have them be easier to walk in. There's a lot of kind of chipped concrete and that kind of thing.
Commissioners took no action and will continue discussions at future meetings. Tuesday was Election Day here in Kansas, with the state conducting its first presidential preference primary since 1992. Results of the election saw no major surprises as the presumptive nominees both won Kansas, President Joe Biden securing 84% of the Democratic Party vote, former President Donald Trump securing about 74% of the Republican Party vote. Those numbers largely mirroring results here locally in Riley and Pottawatomie counties, where Biden and Trump both won easily. The two have already secured the delegates necessary for their party's nomination later this year. Turnout was modest in Riley and Pottawatomie County, just under 7%. Advance voting, Riley County saw just over 1,100 voters cast their ballots early. Pottawatomie County had just 78 in-person advance voters, though the clerk's office noted yesterday that it had received 139 of 200 mail ballots. Riley County Clerk Rich Vargo at Monday's Riley County Commission meeting noted his office is still in need of poll workers for the upcoming primary and general elections. The date for the primary election is August 6th. The general election is November 5th. RCPD says an aggressive dog was shot by officers early Monday morning. Initially, dispatchers were told the pit bull had bitten a child. Upon arrival, police say the dog acted aggressive toward one of its officers, who then shot at the dog in defense. Animal control personnel attended to the injured pit bull, who was then transferred to the Kansas State University Veterinary Health Center. That dog is expected to recover. Police were able to determine the reporting party was actually under the influence of alcohol, had reported the dog bite incident involving a child that had actually occurred a year prior. It wasn't happening that day. The child was confirmed to be safely sheltered in the home and unharmed. RCPD says the incident was part of a domestic violence investigation. No further details are being shared. As RCPD prepares for its upcoming budget, more conversations are likely to be driven around technology investments and the law board's willingness to invest in that technology to reduce crime. Director Brian Peet highlighted key points of his ongoing crime reduction plan Monday, where technology could be better implemented to aid its investigations, but also to help reduce overtime and employee burnout.
But I think with increasing additional technology to help dissuade before we get into the long-standing cost of officers, I think right now a cautious approach would be looking at the technology part of it first. And so far, I think we're okay with where we need to be at.
Board member Caleb James says leveraging technology, especially to crack down on fentanyl use and sales, is a good investment.
I think you have our support when we're addressing the budget, especially if we can get ahead of things like this. Let's be proactive, and I want to leverage technology, make sure that the technology we're getting in contracting talk to each other, or there's a system that it can communicate back and forth so we can leverage it to the best of our abilities.
Over the past 6 months, RCPD has held public input meetings where they gathered data which showed that most residents were concerned with violent and sexual crimes happening around entertainment districts, opioid use and narcotic sales, rape, sex trafficking, and bullying.
Good morning, I'm Troy Coverdale with your sports headlines at News Radio KMAN. The season ended last night for the K-State men's basketball team as it wasn't able to rally from a double-digit deficit. Iowa claimed an NIT opening 91-82 decision over the Cats in Iowa City. Peyton Sanford scored 22 of his game-high 30 in the first half to give the Hawkeyes the advantage over Jerome Tang's Cats.
Somehow we lost, he got going, and when you let a good player see it go in, man, the basket just gets big, and so credit to that young fellow.
K-State rallied to within 3 early in the second half, but Ben Krikke helped boost Iowa after K-State made its adjustments defensively to shut down Sanford.
We felt like the right guys were shooting in the second half, and that gave us a chance. And sometimes it goes in, sometimes it doesn't, but that young fella made shots.
Day-Day Ames scored a season-best 16 points. Will McNair Jr. finished with 15 and 7 boards for the Wildcats. Cam Carter had 13, David Gasson 12 to round out the double-digit scoring efforts for K-State.
We wanted to be able to play one more day together. Like our thing walking out the locker room before the game was, hey, let's spend one more day together, right? Just be able to do it. And it is a blessing to be able to play in the postseason.
K-State finished the year 19-15. Iowa moves on to face Utah next. Joel Scott had 23 points and 11 rebounds. Colorado State won an NCAA tournament game for the first time in 11 years, blowing out Virginia 67-42 in the first 4 behind strong defense, says head coach Nico Medved.
I told our guys, that's nothing new for us. That's what we do every day. We're not afraid to guard for long periods of time in the half court. And so I think we felt comfortable in those situations defensively. So our guys, I thought, stayed really, really disciplined, communicated well.
Nick Clifford scored 17 and grabbed 10 rebounds for the Rams. Colorado State advances as a number 10 seed, where they will match up with 7th-seeded Texas in Charlotte, North Carolina on Thursday. Wagner kicked off the tournament with a first win in program history in the NCAAs, getting 21 points from Melvin Council Jr. and holding off a late rally by Howard to win 71-68. The Northeast Conference champion Seahawks advanced as a 16 seed in the West. They'll match up with top-seeded North Carolina on Thursday in Charlotte. 2 more 16 seeds go at it tonight. Montana State meeting Grambling in the first of 2 games in Dayton. That's followed by Boise State meeting Colorado. We'll have both games for you, presented by Booth Creek Wagyu tonight. March Madness coverage beginning at 5:30 on News Radio KMAN. Kansas guard Kevin McCullough Jr. has been ruled out of the NCAA tournament because of a bone bruise on his knee that caused him to miss half of the past 12 games, including the Big 12 tournament tilt the Jayhawks played. Kansas coach Bill Self told reporters Tuesday upon the team's arrival in Salt Lake City that McCullough would be out. That news comes 2 days before the 4th-seeded Jayhawks open play in the NCAAs against Samford. K-State center Aoka Lee has garnered another national honor. She's been named a 2024 third-team All-American by The Sporting News. This is Lee's second All-American honor this season. She was named a second-team All-American by The Athletic earlier in the month and is the only player in the nation averaging 20 points and shooting 60% or better from the field. Speaking of the Wildcats, as they ready for their NCAA tournament opener on Friday afternoon against Portland, fewer than 2,100 tickets remain available for Friday's sessions at Bramlage Coliseum. A 6-run 6th inning, 3 RBIs from Nick English, and 3 perfect innings on the mound from Jackson Wentworth led K-State to a 6th straight win last night. The Wildcats topping Wichita State at Tyler Field at X Stadium 8-6. Wentworth retired all 10 batters he faced in his 3 innings of work, striking out 5.
Jackson Wentworth has drawn a lot of attention with Tyson Neighbors being out, and he went 9 pitches, 8 pitches, 9 pitches in those 3 innings, struck out 5, and didn't blink to get the save.
Brian Smoller on the redshirt sophomore righty who collected his 4th save of the season in his 10th appearance. 4 Wildcats produced multiple hits in the win, led by Kalen Culpepper and English, who each went 3 for 5 at the plate. The Cats will make their first road trip of the conference season this weekend, traveling to Houston to face the Cougars starting Friday evening. It became official Tuesday what most figured would happen. The Arizona at K-State football game in September will be a Friday night kickoff. The game, a non-conference tilt despite Arizona's move to the Big 12 this season, and it'll be televised by either Fox or ESPN. The Cats have not played host to a Friday night game since 2013. They did play a tilt at Oklahoma State on a Friday this past season. NCAA tournament coverage tonight with the first four getting underway at 5:30. The tip-off of the first game of the night is at 5:40. The game will lead us into that starting at 4 this afternoon with Mitch Fortner, Dave G, and I with you. Again, 4 o'clock for the game.